Hey guys, just wanted to check in with you and record our Wednesday night message. Hope y'all are doing well. Hope you're getting into the swing of things, learning how to do things online, take your classes online and stuff. I hope that all of that's coming together well. Um, I do want to let you guys know I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. I'm going to be trying to, instead of record like two big messages during the week on Wednesday and Sunday, I'm going to try and do some smaller messages through the week on maybe like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something like that, and posting them here on YouTube and, of course, on the Facebook and Instagram. But wanted to let you guys know they're going to be a little shorter just to kind of help you guys with your devotions through the week. One of the tools I'm going to be using to help with that is the YouVersion Bible app. We've gotten several people have started following us. I started having Kasha follow me yesterday, I think. So hi, Kasha. Thanks for following me there. So follow Hannah and I. We're going to be doing different devotions and stuff through there. It seems like it's going to be a great tool. I'm looking forward to seeing how we can use that in our ministry when we're no longer solely online, but I think it's going to be a great tool. So want to encourage you guys to get on there. But I'm going to be using some of the things I'm learning there to teach on here. So with that, I hope that's a blessing to you. In the meantime, I did want to share with you guys a quick joke, I guess, because the pandemic has not robbed me of my sense of humor, much to all of you guys' joy. It's that, do you know why the sesame seed refused to leave the casino? Because he was on a roll. On a roll. Sesame seeds. Anyway, does anybody know what a sesame seed grows into? Like, what is a sesame? Like, I've only seen sesame seeds. I don't know what a sesame is. So, if you know what a sesame is, message me. Send something down in the comments. I'm interested. Anyway, on to our lesson for today. I want to ask ourselves the question, why do we worry? Why do we worry? And if we're going to ask ourselves, why do we worry? We have to ask ourselves, well, what is worry? Well, worry is allowing ourselves to dwell on a difficult situation, a fear, or a potential situation that may or may not ever come to pass. It's something that's out of our hands. It's an outward fear. It's something that we can't control. It wouldn't make sense for me to worry about whether I was going to do the dishes or not. Like, could you imagine how strange that would be for me to like sit on the couch, like, oh man, stressed out about whether I would or would not do the dishes? It's my decision. I could make the decision to go and do the dishes or not. It wouldn't make sense for me to worry about whether they would or wouldn't get taken care of. Worry is on things that we can't control. It's energy that we put towards something that we can't handle or that we don't have control over. It's interesting that worry is something that I can't force you to worry. People can't make you worry. It's something that you do to yourself. You allow yourself to worry. I could give you a bunch of statistics or list off a bunch of things that maybe would be worrisome, but you would have to make the choice of whether you're going to worry about them. Now, you may look at me and say, I'm worried about AJ, and you'd probably be well-founded in that. But the reality is, I couldn't make you worry. The worry is something that you gin up within yourself, you create within yourself, and then you choose to worry. The way I always think about worrying is I think of like backpacking. Whenever I was in Boy Scouts, every year we'd get a new group of kids coming in, kind of like youth group. And I would get a new group of kids and we would plan this backpacking trip. As a patrol leader, part of my job was to make sure they were prepared for that backpacking trip. And every year you'd have one kid and he would show up and his backpack would weigh like 150 pounds. He would barely be able to get it out of his car. He'd like be dragging it across the parking lot, barely able to get it into the building. And Then we'd open it up and he would look like Goldilocks. Like he would have 3 of everything. He'd have 3 sleeping bags, one for if it was hot, one for if it was cold, and one for if it was just right. He would have 3 pairs of pants and 3 pairs of shorts, and all like just his entire closet would be shoved into his backpack. And he would have enough food for the next 3 weeks in case he got lost. And he would have all these knives, and his backpack would just be so heavy. And he would be so burdened down. I'd always take it and I'd put it on the kid's back and I'd be like, okay, take a walk. And he'd realize how heavy it was. And I was like, how are you going to walk 5-10 miles with this on your back if you can barely walk a couple hundred yards? We got to get some of this out. And so I would start taking things out of his backpack and I would say, you don't need this. You don't need this. You don't need this. But I would also notice that inevitably the kids who had their backpacks overloaded with all this extra stuff that they didn't need would also forget like really important stuff. They would forget things like a first aid kit, or they would forget to bring an extra pair of socks or something like that. They would forget these essential tools that they needed because they had run out of space. They had overloaded themselves with extras and stuff that they didn't need. And so much so that they would forget the things that they would need. So I'd give them a list, one of all the things that they didn't need to bring, but I'd give them a second list of all the things that they needed to add. That way they would have everything they needed. You know, worry's kind of like that, is you end up focusing so much on things that you can't control. You end up focusing so much on things that you don't need to focus on that you end up forgetting to focus on things that you really do, that really are important. I think it's important for us as Christians to focus on verses like Isaiah 41, verse 10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. We need to remember that God is ultimately in control. Whatever happens, God is in control of today, tomorrow, and yesterday. God is all powerful. We talk about that all the time. But when we worry, what we're really doing is it comes from a lack of trust in the Lord. We're showing that, you know, we know that God has given us promises. We know he's told us that he'll never leave us. He'll never forsake us. We know that his eye is on the sparrow. He clothes the lily. We know these things, but then we say, I know those things about God, but I don't believe him. I don't trust him. That's where faith comes in. Worry is a result of a lacking of faith. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't, that there's no solution. The solution is to trust God, to be intentional about trusting the Lord, to know these promises. Maybe these are things that, you know, we've talked about the definition of to know something. It's a justified true belief. Maybe you believe that, and of course you're justified in it, but we know that's true, and we know that you're justified in believing that, but you don't really know it. You've never really studied it out. You've never made it so that this is a truth that you can apply to yourself. So make sure that we know these things about God. We know where to find these promises from God, so that we can grow. We can trust him. And those will rid us of worry, placing our trust in him, relying on him, and giving over the things that we can't control to the Lord. So with that, guys, I just want to wrap up with a quick question for you. Are you a worrier? Are you someone who carries worry? If you're not sure, ask yourself, how often do you dwell on things that you can't control or that you have no control over? If it's several times a day, you may be a worrier. If you are, I would, and even if you don't think you are, I'd ask you to spend some time these next few days praying, asking God to reveal areas that you're not fully trusting him in, asking God to help you to trust his word with these promises that he's given you. And I know it'll be a blessing to you guys. Hey, I hope you guys are, I hope this is a blessing to you. Make sure you like and subscribe. Maybe share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.